Welcome to today's sad video. Make your wife watch something that she has no interest in. She hates the concept of it. It will never happen. She's already got her phone
Imagine
out.
opening your eyes for the first time, not under a blue sky, not beside trees, not beneath clouds drifting across a living planet, but inside a metal world that has been flying through darkness since before your grandparents were born. Imagine being told that Earth is real, but you will never see it. Imagine being told that another star is waiting ahead, but you will never reach it either. Your entire life, every birthday, every friendship, every fear, every dream, every funeral, would happen inside corridors built by people who died long before you existed. And then comes the strangest question of all. Would you still call that exploration, or would you call it a prison moving between stars? This is the deep and uncomfortable reality behind generation ships. They sound beautiful from far away. A giant ark crossing interstellar space, a human city among the stars, a vessel carrying forests, oceans, animals, children, libraries, laboratories, and the memory of Earth toward another sun. It feels like one of the grandest dreams our species has ever imagined. But the closer science looks at it, the more the dream begins to crack. Not because humans lack courage, not because space is empty, but because a generation ship is not just a spaceship. It is a civilization sealed inside a machine, and that machine must not fail for centuries, maybe thousands of years. Before this journey begins, ask yourself something quietly. If someone offered you a place on such a ship but told you the truth, that you would never come back, never breathe open air again, never stand beside an ocean, never see sunrise on Earth, and that your children and their children would inherit this same fate without ever choosing it, would you go? And if your answer is no, then the first great problem of generation ships has already appeared. They are not only engineering problems, they are moral problems. They ask future people to pay the price for a decision made by the past. And as we move into this story, stay with this thought. Because the most terrifying thing about generation ships is not that they are impossible according to physics. Physics does not clearly forbid them. A massive craft can, in principle, travel between stars. The problem is harsher. The universe allows the dream, but reality may punish every weakness inside it. So before we enter this dark ocean of distance, if this kind of deep scientific journey makes you curious, take a quiet moment to like, subscribe, and comment what you would choose. Would you board a ship that your descendants would finish for you? Because tonight, we're not just asking whether humans can reach another star. We're asking whether humans can remain human long enough to survive the trip. A generation ship is a spacecraft designed to travel so far that the original passengers will die before arrival. Their descendants will continue the mission. Those descendants may also die before arrival. The ship becomes a moving world, a closed society, a controlled ecosystem, a school, a hospital, a farm, a factory, a government, and a graveyard. It must provide air, water, food, medicine, education, reproduction, culture, law, repair, and hope. It must preserve enough knowledge to operate itself. It must manage conflict. It must protect bodies from radiation, minds from despair, crops from disease, metal from fatigue, computers from failure, and purpose from decay. This is why the idea is so seductive. It seems to offer a solution to the biggest barrier in interstellar travel: distance. The nearest star system to the Sun, Alpha Centauri, is about 4.37 light-years away, and Proxima Centauri, the closest known star, is about 4.24 light-years away. That sounds almost nearby until the mind remembers what a light-year means. Light travels about 300,000 kilometers every second. In 1 year, it crosses nearly 9.46 trillion kilometers. So Proxima Centauri is not just the next star. It is more than 40 trillion kilometers away. A human lifetime is small beside that distance. Our fastest spacecraft are painfully slow compared with light. Voyager 1, one of humanity's most famous deep space messengers, moves at roughly 17 kilometers per second relative to the Sun. That is astonishing by human standards, but at that kind of speed, a trip to the nearest star would take tens of thousands of years. New Horizons, which flew past Pluto, was fast too, yet still nowhere near interstellar colonization speed. Chemical rockets are powerful for climbing out of gravity wells, but compared with the scale of interstellar space, they are like sparks thrown into an endless night. So people imagine faster propulsion, fusion engines, antimatter rockets, laser sails, nuclear pulse systems, ion drives stretched to extreme scales. Maybe a ship could travel at 1% of the speed of light. At 1% light speed, Proxima Centauri would still take more than 4 centuries to reach, not counting acceleration and deceleration. At 10% light speed, the trip might take decades, but then the energy requirements become monstrous, and every tiny grain of interstellar dust becomes a bullet with terrifying kinetic energy. The faster the ship goes, the more space itself becomes dangerous. The slower the ship goes, the more time becomes dangerous. This is the first twist. Generation ships are often imagined as a compromise, a way to avoid needing near light speed. But the compromise creates a larger monster. If you cannot go fast, you must survive long. And surviving long inside a sealed machine may be harder than building a fast engine. A rocket that fails explodes quickly. A generation ship can fail slowly, invisibly, biologically, culturally, psychologically, politically. It can die from a leak, a fungus, a broken pump, a forgotten equation, a civil war, a failed harvest, a wrong birth policy, a religious schism, or a tiny manufacturing defect waiting patiently for the great-grandchildren. The ship would need to be enormous, not just large like a space station, not even large like a supertanker. It would need enough mass to shield against radiation, enough volume to prevent psychological collapse, enough agricultural area to feed a population, enough redundancy to survive failures, enough industrial capability to repair itself, and enough social complexity to function as a civilization. But every added kilogram increases the propulsion challenge. Every meter of shielding, every spare part, every greenhouse, every water tank, every machine shop, every hospital, every school, every habitat module must be accelerated across interstellar space. The ship cannot be heavy, yet it must be heavy. It cannot be fragile, yet it must travel for centuries. It cannot be simple, because human life is complex. It cannot be too complex, because complex systems fail. A closed ecosystem is one of the hardest parts of the problem. On Earth, life support is not a machine in a basement. It is the entire planet. Forests, oceans, bacteria, fungi, soil chemistry, weather cycles, sunlight, geological recycling, atmospheric mixing, and countless species interact in ways we do not fully control. Earth's biosphere is not efficient because it is simple. It is resilient because it is vast, diverse, and constantly exchanging matter and energy across enormous scales. A generation ship would have to imitate enough of that system inside a limited container. The air must be breathable, oxygen must be produced, carbon dioxide must be removed, water must be purified, waste must be recycled, food must grow. Nutrients must cycle back into soil or hydroponic systems. Microbes must be managed. Pollination must occur if flowering crops are used. Light must be supplied or collected. Temperature and humidity must be stable. Toxic compounds must not accumulate. Trace elements must not vanish from circulation. The system must handle births, deaths, illness, accidents, crop variations, and human behavior. And it cannot simply call Earth when something goes wrong and ask for a replacement filter. We already have a warning from Earth-based experiments. Biosphere 2, a famous closed ecological experiment in Arizona during the 1990s, tried to create a sealed environment with humans, plants, animals, soil, and artificial biomes. It was ambitious, brave, and scientifically valuable, but it revealed how difficult closed systems are. Oxygen levels fell, carbon dioxide fluctuated, food production was difficult, ecological balance was not simple. Even with Earth outside, experts nearby, and the ability to intervene, the system struggled. A generation ship would need something far more reliable for far longer without rescue. The International Space Station also teaches a lesson. It recycles water and supports human life in orbit, but it is not a closed world. It depends on Earth for supplies, spare parts, crew rotation, experiments, maintenance, and mission control. It is an incredible achievement, but it is not proof that humans can live indefinitely in a sealed interstellar ark. The ISS is like a cabin near the shore. A generation ship is a wooden island sent into an ocean so wide that no shore can ever send help. And then comes entropy. the quiet enemy. Perfect recycling does not exist. Materials degrade, filters clog, metals corrode, plastics become brittle, electronics fail, lubricants break down, seals leak, nutrients get trapped in unusable forms, some materials are lost in accidents, contamination, or irreversible chemical processes. Even if recycling is 99.9% efficient, over centuries that missing fraction matters. A generation ship would need stores of raw materials and the ability to manufacture new parts from recycled matter. That means mining its own waste streams, processing metals, producing polymers, fabricating circuits, making glass, ceramics, medicines, tools, sensors, and machines. In other words, it needs an industrial civilization inside the ship. But industry itself is dirty, energy-hungry, and complex. Manufacturing produces heat, waste, fumes, and failures. Precision electronics require clean rooms, rare materials, specialized machines, and supply chains that on Earth span continents. Modern civilization is not a single factory. It is a planetary web. A smartphone contains materials and manufacturing steps from many countries and thousands of specialized processes. Now imagine reproducing enough of that capability inside a moving habitat with limited mass, limited people, and no external supply chain. The generation ship must carry not only humans, but the ability to keep rebuilding the tools that keep humans alive. This is where the dream becomes heavier. People often imagine the ship as a self-contained garden, but in reality, it must be a garden wrapped around a factory, wrapped around a power plant, wrapped around a government, wrapped around a university, wrapped around a hospital, wrapped around a nuclear bunker. And all of it must remain stable while moving through radiation-filled space, far from any planet, for timescales longer than many human nations have existed. Mechanical failure becomes a kind of destiny. On Earth, bridges need inspection, aircraft need maintenance, ships rust, satellites fail, nuclear reactors age, batteries degrade, bearings wear out, pumps break, valves stick, wires fatigue, software becomes obsolete. Even if a generation ship is built with extraordinary redundancy, redundancy is consumed over time. A backup system that is never tested may not work when needed. A backup system that is tested may wear out too. A repair crew can fix one thing, but what if the repair tools fail? What if the machine that makes the repair tools fails? What if the knowledge to diagnose the failure is lost? What if a small error in a maintenance manual survives for 300 years before it matters? The ship would need a culture of maintenance so deep that care becomes religion. Every generation must understand that survival depends on invisible systems. A child must grow up knowing that a quiet pump behind a wall is as sacred as a sunrise. People must be trained not only to use machines, but to love the patient discipline of keeping them alive. But cultures change, attention drifts, ritual replaces understanding. A procedure first written as engineering may become tradition, then tradition may become superstition. Then someone may ask, why are we wasting our lives maintaining this forbidden section? And suddenly a civilization built to preserve knowledge begins to erode from within. The educational burden is enormous. A generation ship cannot simply teach basic literacy and practical skills. It must preserve physics, biology, medicine, engineering, agriculture, computer science, ethics, governance, history, and the original mission. It must train enough specialists in every critical field, even if the population is limited. It must avoid intellectual collapse. On Earth, knowledge survives through billions of people, universities, books, laboratories, industries, and constant refreshment through discovery. On a ship, knowledge may become narrow, fragile, and vulnerable to catastrophe. If a plague kills most of the reactor engineers, can the next generation recover? If a political movement suppresses certain scientific teachings, can the ship survive? If people stop believing the outside universe exists, what happens to navigation? This leads to one of the most haunting possibilities: mission drift. The first generation may leave Earth with a clear goal. They may know the destination star, the travel plan, the reasons, the sacrifices. The second generation hears those reasons from parents. The third generation hears them from teachers. The 10th generation hears them as mythology. The 20th generation may no longer feel any emotional connection to Earth.
So yeah, the reason to go, just to go. I mean, my generational starship is not necessarily to go colonize a different planet. Um, it would just be to see how far we could go. Now, because yeah, like you're gonna go all that way out there. What if it's a species that wants to kill you, and they have faster transportation than you do? So that's a what ifs on what you're gonna experience when you get there. So you need to be prepared for everything. But yeah, it would constantly be a democratic elected officials, and everybody would have a chance to rise up through the ranks. But overall, on my generational starship, which initially could be 100 or maybe 1,000 of the version 4 starships, is what I'm looking at making into a generational starship where you're going to link all of these starships together. You could easily have several tanker uh, starships just for the fueling. Like out of 1,000, and maybe we're gonna put 10,000 of these things in orbit. We could have them all once we got them in our own circular type. However, we're gonna link them together. We could get them in to rotate, and you could rotate each one individually, or you could rotate them all together. There's got lots of different options for how we're gonna pack people into these starships and create the generational exploration starship, if you will. The idea would be to try to get to the next nearest solar system just to see what's up, dog.
So how do you think they're going to make a decision on who gets to go and who dies?
Well, initially,
Because they're not going to fit everybody on these fucking ships.
it's going to be
It's going to be some Titanic bullshit
no.
where the fucking half the community is going to die. Because only the fucking rich elites will be able to afford to fucking escape the planet when it blows up. This is what I don't think that you understand. That this is not meant for everybody. This is meant for the fucking rich elite to escape the mess that they've made on this planet. We have such like real world issues that are going on right now that I just don't understand how you can comprehend that this is going to be like reality.
I would bet mostly it would be volunteers. Now they would have their pick of the crop for the mission planners and everything, and
who's paying for all this?
probably Elon.
Is this what the taxpayers' money is going to go towards in the next fucking 100 years?
This is probably what Elon's generational wealth is going to be used for. He wants to make thousands of these starships per year and get colonies going on all the planets and moons that we can in our solar system.
I'm sure he does. People that don't contribute to society don't get to come along. I see a whole bunch of people on this planet being skipped and left behind.
Well, see, you're thinking about it from a totally different perspective. Most people are not going to want to just get on
And
this
yeah,
starship
that's the reason
and
why
go
you want me to
anywhere.
watch this, is because you're trying to change my perspective, and I don't think it's going to.
So, no, like you're looking at it all wrong, because you're looking at it from a we need to abandon this planet because
No,
this
I'm not
planet
looking
is
at
lost.
it that way.
Or that's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it, because this planet is lost. No, it's because we have the sense of adventure. We want to see what's out there.
Because we've got a whole lot of fucking millionaires in this world that have disposable income that can't facilitate with making this planet a better place to live, that would rather just fucking jump ship.
See, you're totally off base on that. The whole, like, I
There's so
doubt
many fucking social issues that could be
you pick the top 1,000
like
billionaires in the
fixed.
world who wants to join the
There's
spaceship.
so many.
Not one of them probably is going to want to go. Maybe one, Elon. But, like, everyone else is going to be like, yeah,
Oh,
we'll catch the next
bullshit.
one. See
Bullshit.
ya.
I don't believe that for a second. Because as soon as they made it so that you could go fucking view Titanic and fucking go to space and shit, all the billionaires are wanting to fucking do it. So don't feed me that. I know better than that.
All the billionaires want to go see the Titanic? How many have went to go see the Titanic?
Anybody who's relevant
One dumbass?
Anybody who's relevant went to go see it until they started realizing, oh, this is causing more fucking problems than it's actually doing good.
I don't see how that's hardly 40% true statement.
Okay.
One dumbass does not make all of them dumbasses.
Earth or the destination. To them, the ship is the world. The mission is not their dream.
I don't think that you understand what it's going to be like when there's a fucking apocalypse situation and the planet is on the verge of being fucking
not blind obedience,
demolished.
But cooperative continuity.
Anybody
people inside
that doesn't want to die is going to be fucking
they may never
throwing
see.
fists to try to get on this shit. And I don't socioeconomically, I don't think that this is a good option.
You're saying we shouldn't have
because
the
I
option
think
to abandon
I
ship?
think it's going to be another situation of the poor people being left behind and the rich people that have all the money fucking bouncing out and saying, "Hey, sorry, guess you should have worked harder."
So you're afraid you can get missed out on? Poor babes.
I'm saying that
we're gonna need all the people who can make
the issues that we already have on this planet could be resolved instead of billionaires throwing their money into fucking outer space.
Just think of how many times you could reknit a new outfit. Like how long would yarn work?
Quit it.
You get the spray bottle out for you.
I'm not doing this for fun. So, despite you thinking that it's a hobby that you shouldn't even bother, like trying to convince your friends and family, hey, come buy my wife's shit. I know that you think it's a hobby, but it's not a hobby.
Like me wanting to play with 2x4. Hey! Mommy said drop it. You're gonna get thrown out. Don't throw the freaking scissors at her. Poor little skizzer ball. Throw an ink pen maybe. Or a dead lighter. Get out of there, Kika.
I am not saying that science isn't important. What I'm saying is there's other shit going on that is more important.
Like what? What do you think that all these billionaires, the two that are doing it, Jeff Bezos and Elon, should divert all of their attention from their whole SpaceX program, the $1 billion worth of satellites they've already got up there, and the $100 billion worth they want to put up there? Just cancel all that shit. Focus all your energy on Earth. Go. What are they going to do instead?
I'm not sure that there's an easy fix, but I am pretty sure that there's a lot of ways that their money could stretch in ways that would, I don't know, benefit
what would you
so
do
many
with $1 billion?
people. If I had the ability, I would make it so that way all of these corporations in America that are mass producing food aren't getting kickbacks from the government, so that way that they are motivated to make the shittiest possible product to sell in this country to poison fucking Americans.
Well, that's what we got the right people in there this administration definitely cared about our American citizens. It's been the most transparent that there ever has been as far
That's
as
a lie.
what these drugs have been doing to us. And we've already made several changes. Thank you, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Bobby, excellent choice. Reason number 87 why Trump was definitely the only person to vote for in this last election.
All it has to do with is fucking money changing hands. That's all it has to do with.
It's just like what Christmas was, I buy a $20 present for you, you buy a $20 present for me. What if I just gave you $20 and you gave me $20? And why do we even give each other anything?
Doing each other favors. They are colleagues. They're helping each other out.
Okay.
It's all it all comes down to like money situations. Like so and so makes more money, he's got more money to donate to the campaign fund.
All right. So one thing that maybe you don't have that I do naturally is the ability to want to explore. Now, I feel like you do have that ability. Like, you want to go exploring around here on Earth all the time. But how cool would it be go to check out Saturn's hexagonal storm? Let's go see what's going on over there.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't be cool. It would be cool. But what I'm saying is that
so yeah, we start off small with this looking thing. Let's go check out Jupiter, guys.
I would say that the U.S. government has made it very clear that exploring outer space is not a high priority because the funds are not there. So, it seems kind of stupid to me that somebody else is saying, hey, U.S. government, I'll make the funds, I'll do this, when he could be doing something else.
So,
with his money that's productive instead of just saying, hey, U.S. government, I'm winning.
So much winning.
I got so much more money than you. I got more brains than you do.
So I don't know who you're trying to
I think
duplicate
I think that it is a waste of money. It's a waste of resources.
So right now,
if we took care of this planet as a whole, we wouldn't be in a situation where we were being forced out of the planet.
And how are you going to tell somebody else to do shit on this planet?
I'm trying to learn how to make this planet a better place just like everybody else says.
So you're trying to do your part?
I'm trying.
These fuckers over in India are just dumping their entire garbage thing right into the goddamn ocean.
My part in trying to make a difference in this planet are no longer wanting to be using man-made textiles and trying to be purchasing natural fibers only and creating items that are made with natural fibers only, and trying to decrease my trash, not be a hyper consumer, I guess.
Do you believe in the right to the pursuit of happiness?
Yeah.
Now, what if somebody really wanted to go out in outer space and nobody had any rockets? What if somebody went to the only place that was making rockets and they literally spat in his face and said, fuck you, no matter how much money you have? I mean, by the way, it's 10 times now what it was.
It's never going to be that situation because the billionaires in this country are running it.
They're running the show. SpaceX was started. Elon went to Russia to buy a rocket so he could send his own damn rocket to Mars because NASA wasn't doing shit. And he had the money. And he could have bought 2 rockets from those fuckers. But they ended up upping the price so he could even buy 1 rocket. Upping the price. It's a whole bullshit story. On his way back home, he's doing the math and thinking, man, we could totally make our own damn rocket.
All I'm going to say is It must be really fucking nice to live a life where your biggest fucking concern is where you're gonna buy a goddamn rocket at.
Well, see, here's his concern. His concern is not just for his own life. His concern is for the entire human species. Like Earth currently has all of its eggs in one basket. If Earth gets wiped out,
So does every other planet in the
So
solar
does-
system that has humans
no other
or species.
no other
of some
planet
sort.
exists currently with humans on it. We need to change that. As humans need to become a multi-planet species. This is the only way to ensure the dinosaurs aren't around any longer because they didn't have SpaceX.
Who's to say if this planet doesn't get destroyed, that whatever fucking planet that we bounce to next isn't gonna get destroyed?
What we're totally optimally looking for is to take control of our entire galaxy. We want to have control over everything and spread this light of consciousness that is
I
in the
honestly
human
feel
species.
like the people on this planet as a whole are not smart enough to accomplish that. And the reason why I say that is because we have been allowed to deplete resource after resource after resource and destroy this planet for hundreds of years.
And a
And
lot
it
of the people
only
here are going to want to keep
It's
doing
getting
that.
worse. It's only getting worse.
And getting people to stop doing that is going to be hard. Like
It's not going to happen.
going to this
unfortunately.
meeting on Monday to try and
It's
get
not
the data
gonna
center
happen.
to
People
not
are
go
going to
through.
continue to destroy the planet. No matter how much you sit there and tell people that fucking polyester fabric and polyester yarn is bad for the planet, they're going to continue to buy it because
PFAS,
it's being sold.
forever chemicals are in your blood. You can't get away from it.
It doesn't make a difference how many times you tell people that fucking Burger King is bad for you. People are still going to buy it because it's
Whopper
there.
Wednesday.
It doesn't make a difference if a hamburger is $10 fucking or not. They're still going to buy it because it's an option.
You thought somebody might like it.
Stupid.
Special treat.
I would have liked it better if it was Whopper Wednesday, but no. Fuck you, Burger King. They got us all excited. We went to Burger King. I think
Finally remembered
that was
Whopper
the
Wednesday.
first. I swear that's the first time I've been to Burger King all fucking year.
I hadn't
was
even
April.
thought about it, and you said Whopper Wednesday. I'm like, fuck yes.
So I find out Whopper Wednesday is this thing. And
'Cause we went
we
to
were in
King City,
California.
Burger King City.
King City, California. We were charging, and there was, for whatever reason, a fucking Burger King there was a charger at the Burger King. We're like, all right, I guess we'll go inside.
The slowest supercharger ever at the Burger King.
And yeah,
But it was Whopper Wednesday. It was like, what are these prices?
this is like under
What?
$5 for a Whopper.
It was
Sweet.
like $3.
It was,
or
yeah, it
something.
was like
I'm
$3 or $4 for a Whopper.
Should I get two and take one home? What?
So we're like, sweet, well, let's get Whoppers. And then all of a sudden, the next time we go to Burger King, wah, wah, wah. No longer being promoted.
Well, like the next 6
But we
Wednesdays, I
checked
missed it.
AI, and AI says, oh, well, that promotion hasn't exactly been canceled. It's still being run.
It's just that franchise in Winnemucca doesn't
This
support it.
this particular store is no longer participating because they can bring in more money by advertising the fucking Mandalorian than they are advertising the Whopper Wednesday, which is just stupid. Why can't they have more than one fucking...
Why can't they do both?
Why can't they do both? Duh.
Whopper Wednesday and the Mandalorian.
They are not fucking losing money by taking... They're losing money by taking Whopper Wednesday away. I swear to God.
No, they
That
made like
place is
$7
never fucking
extra.
busy.
They made like
And then the
14.
crazy thing is that, I swear, this is like the second time that I've been in Burger King all year. Then I go back
Burger King
to
at
go
that
through
Burger
the
King?
drive-through to get Grady a free Whopper because I filled out my survey and let him know, fuck you for discontinuing continuing the Whopper Wednesday. You suck.
And you missed my
That's
cheese.
why we don't come back here. The order was incorrect. The fries were nice and hot. They were great. The service was mediocre, considering he asked us if we were eating there, and he packed all of our shit to go, and we told him we were eating there.
And he said bacon with cheese and didn't get cheese.
And then I asked him if we could have one of those. He was nice and gave us a free drink because I told him that I was just going to share a drink with my husband. He's like, let me just give you this cup for free. I was like, okay, thanks. Well, I asked him for the free kiddie cone. It's like a sample size ice cream cone. Because there's advertisements saying, hey, ask for one. You can get one free with any purchase. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, Dobby can have this non-dairy treat because I know it's not dairy anymore. It's not ice cream anymore. I'm like, I can give him this little ice cream cone. I'm sure he would love it.
You're going to have a blowout. He
had a little tiny piece of my Whopper. And non-dairy shouldn't give him the shits. It's like the same thing as giving him a pup cup. It's the same, only it's cold. I bet he would have loved it. And the guy says, okay. And then he turns around and he comes back and he's like, actually, we don't have any of those right now. I'm like, okay, thanks. And I turned around and walked out. I'm like, what is he, what is he implying? Like, he can't give me one because he gave me a free drink? Like, he didn't have to give me a free drink. We would have maybe filled that cup of yours twice. So we would have had the same amount of beverage for what we paid for one fucking cup. So, in my eyes, he basically gave away a cup. So it was kind of dumb for him to do that because that cost them money.
I mean, it was nice.
But it was a nice gesture, and I know that he was trying to make it up to me because the fact that we paid what? $30 for a value meal.
My Impossible Whopper was just slightly overcooked.
And a burger and a fry.
And I don't like how the Impossible Whopper is so much smaller than the regular Whopper.
I didn't notice that.
Even though it costs the same, it's crazy.
But yeah, I paid $9 for a bacon Whopper without cheese because they
At least they didn't charge you for it.
They pushed the wrong button. I'd asked for cheese, but yeah, they gave me a Whopper without cheese, add bacon. To pay like $9 for that is just insane to me. That burger is not worth $9. Burger King has absolutely done nothing to their burger recipe to make it worth $9 fucking for the burger. Since I worked there in the early 2000s. And the Whoppers back then were maybe like $5 a piece. They might have been less than that. They might have been like $3 a piece, $4 a piece. I don't remember. Seems like
Whopper
things
Wednesday
got cheaper. It seems to me like things got cheaper during like
99-cent Whopper deals was the deal, yo.
Yeah.
Take 5 fucking Whoppers. Hell yes.
I just feel like they have done some really... I'm so sick of big corporations. Like, they've done so many different things to try to, like, fucking bring in money, and none of it is, like, promotions.
So
it's all like, oh, buy this Star Wars fucking Happy Meal for $20. Fuck you, Burger King. I don't want to buy a Star Wars Happy Meal for $20. I don't give a fuck if it's got Baby Yoda.
Come on, you know it's got the Baby Yoda.
I don't give a fuck if it's got fucking
Boba
Fett and Baby Yoda having a baby. I don't give a fuck what it's got in it. I don't want it.
What if it was Baby Fat?
$20 for a fucking Happy Meal is ridiculous.
You want to be happy, don't you?
I want a meal to be $5 fucking again.
Make America $5.
I want to be able to get a $5 fucking meal from a fast food place. If I'm going to get fast food, I should be able to feed everybody in my fucking family for under $20.
What you're telling me is Kamala would have got us there.
That's bullshit. That is not what I said.
Kamala,
do not put words in my mouth.
What's his name? Would definitely.
I'll burn your hand. Don't put words in my mouth.
We have been having Whopper Wednesdays.
I'm gonna pull your fucking
every
arm
day.
hairs out one by one with these screws now.
Every
Don't
day.
put words in my mouth.
She said it.
That is not what I said.
Rewind the tape.
I don't like those fuckers any more than I like the Republican Party. Everybody's lying.
Everybody's awesome.
Nobody's transparent about shit. Nobody has fucking values.
Everybody told you what was
Nobody's doing ethical things. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
So, yeah, who's involved? Everybody who wants to go.
Everybody that has money.
No.
Yes,
No.
that wants to go.
Elon has already said publicly that the first trip will probably not. The probability of success is not 100. So obviously, the probability of failure is greater than 0, and there probably won't be a return trip. So the first people going to Mars might be the last people going to Mars.
Just like with that one mission.
So yeah, the first people going might actually have to be paid to go on the trip, if you know what I mean. Or just technically volunteers. So let's get them up there. They're gonna need, until we get Optimus running, which is going quick as fuck, which on my generational starship is gonna have several Optimuses. Optimi. What do we call these things? We have a fleet of Optimi. One of them will be constantly scanning the space ahead of where we're going.
One of them's gonna be throwing the ball for Pro My Girl all the time.
Want to be taking care of the doggos. But you can have your Optimus be your doctor, could be your gardener, could be your chef, could be the whole thing.
Your assistant.
So the Optimi are gonna essentially be the house elves on the generational starship, where everyone's like, who's gonna fix everything? You gotta have a whole fleet of engineers and baby engineers and teach your kids to be engineers. Nah, your kids can still grow up to do whatever they want to. They could probably have their own pets. Everyone can have a family of how many doggos they can have. You gotta have all that stuff on lockdown, you know. I'm thinking with 10,000 of these version 4 starships, we should be able to have maybe 10,000 or 100,000 people easily, you know, in our generational starship that is free to move around the solar system.
Stinky.
And you would just
belly button right now. No.
You would have to simulate gravity.
Right.
No big deal. We'll orbit and set it up so that way everyone will just still experience 1G of gravity, just like on Earth.
Cutie booty.
But we'll be having that gravity. We'll have all the insulation and stuff figured out. We'll have ships dedicated just to botany, you know, like a whole ship just for growing things, a whole ship for making things, a whole ship for upkeep on things. So yeah, we'd have all that stuff taken care of.
Consumption, regulate reproduction, maintain systems, follow safety rules, and preserve mission goals. But why should they? What moral authority does the first crew have over the 100th generation? If the descendants decide to turn around, stop, change course, dismantle parts of the ship, or reject the mission entirely.
That's
You're
where.
gonna pause again already?
We're supposed to be talking about the fucking video, and hopefully you were listening to it. This was another thing that we didn't really count on. What are we gonna do on this generational starship about like your descendants and your descendants and your descendants and your descendants? So me, you, and G-Rady get on the spaceship. Do we get to adopt another kid, or?
I don't know if I want to adopt another kid.
Okay.
I feel like we have enough responsibilities.
Ray, Erica, and their kid get on the spaceship, and 500 or 600 families from every country in the world that wants to go get to go on there too. And they're talking about having to monitor who is having kids with who. I don't know. I think maybe we could have AI in charge of that as well. Like have the um, have the Generational Starship dating app or something, installed, and so you have like you're interested. So you're interested in making a child? Yay! Glad you have decided to do that. Let's see who else are your possible candidates. And it would just show you the other people who are interested and are highly recommended based on genetical factors. So, with everything being tracked, all the genetics and all the work being done by the AI, everyone's blood work being known, every disease being handled because all these data centers have finally been producing enough intelligence that we know what every problem is and everything is solved. It will tell you the optimal, people that you should have sex with right now. The app could tell you everything on the Generational Starship. What are your thoughts on how we would monitor the public relations, like who's having babies with who? I mean, are we supposed to try to keep our deep seated, values? Would the Indians want to bring their assigned marriages, values?
I don't think that the people in charge need to. I don't know. I don't like the idea of somebody having to monitor people having children.
So, would you prefer to not have that being monitored at all and just let the parents sort it out, as opposed to having the AI help, so to say, like encourage who would be optimal, maybe even to show, sorry, who should be stayed away from, or or perhaps at that point they could even let you know what negative traits to watch out for in these other people and immediately detect that stuff at birth and solve problems, so even in that case there wouldn't really need to be some problems, but you know AI is going to have an optimal genetic pattern for the species to continue to live, and on a generational starship it will be having room for growth. I think we could plan for the tremendous abundance of fuel ships. Once they're empty, we'll have tons of more room for expanding into more grow ships or more living areas, more space to have free time, you know, lots of things to do other than work. Like you'd basically be able to do whatever you wanted to on the Generational Starship. So you think you'd be bored as fuck? You guys going for it? She's going across the fence. She shoots the shovel. For politics of where we're going, like it might take us a couple years to get to
I
like
say
Saturn.
this is wishful thinking.
But if this thing ever does start to be like, yeah, we have a whole crew and we are, we're kind of bored with Jupiter and all these moons and all this shit's done and over with, you guys. This thing's like perfected. Let's go check out the next solar system that's close to us. We'll see what's going on with those guys. We're taking as much fuel as we can, as much people at the perfect amount of mixture, genetically wise, and all the resources we're going to need. We're going to have everything taken care of. All we have to do is just survive and not kill each other. So we're only going to try to hit the cool people. We're going to have a set of laws, and if you don't fucking follow the laws, there's going to be some serious consequences. And we're going to make it so it's easier to remove a law than it is to add a new law. Because we want to have the laws as simple, as efficient as possible. Nobody should be impinging on anybody else's pursuit to happiness. If anybody wants to leave, they're free to leave whenever they'd like. But outer space is really tough, and we're a long ways from home. What are your thoughts? How we're gonna handle the politics? You know, like,
we can't handle politics on this fucking planet. There's no way it's gonna happen in outer space.
I think with everybody having their own ID on the spaceship, you are one of 10,000 people. 8,000 people elected this person, you know, or majority rule or whatever. Who is the captain?
The money.
Where are we going?
The person that has the most money.
On this ship, there's going to be, nobody cares about who had the most money.
That's hilarious. That is a hilarious concept to me. And
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that ever. And it's never. In the hundreds, okay, how many fucking years has this planet been habitated?
What I'm telling you is it's about
There's
to change.
always been a status quo for as long as this fucking planet has been
And I'm telling you,
in existence.
no one's ever landed a ship, a rocket ship, on a barge in the middle of the ocean until it was done. And it's been done like
By
600
one of the
times.
billionaires, one of the people that has made the most money ever in this fucking planet. That's why.
One of the ways you can also say it is one of the best humans on the planet, one of the persons who's brought the most value to humanity as a whole. Shout out to Justin Bass. Justin Bass, are you related to that Governor Bass in California? Let us know in the comments below.
You're related to Lance Bass. You know who Lance Bass is?
No.
You said it NSYNC.
No way.
I think that's the band.
Nice.
Lance Bass. Hey Google,
That might be his first name.
was Lance Bass in the group NSYNC?
He sure was. Lance Bass was the bass singer for NSYNC.
Nailed
He
it.
joined the group in 1995 after being recommended by their vocal coach, and he stayed with them through all their
1995.
massive success until they went on hiatus in 2002. Are you in the mood to listen to some of their music while you drive?
Sí. Muy bien. Unfortunately, she killed our Generational Starship video. No, go back to the video.
I knew that was gonna happen. I was like, you shouldn't have said yes. So now it's gonna put on fucking music. And it's gonna wreck your video.
Rock your video. What if we go home?
Ellie, who has the right to stop them? The original planners would be dust. Earth would be unreachable. The ship's future belongs
Democracy
to
would
those
carry
alive
on.
inside it.
You guys wanted to change
The
course?
ethical
Change
pull becomes
course.
sharp. The original passengers choose the mission. Their descendants do not. Children born on the ship inherit a life of confinement. They cannot step outside. They cannot choose another country. They cannot leave society and live in a forest.
With the
Their
best
entire
VR
universe is
headsets and
artificial.
shit, they could go wherever they
Their
wanted to
reproductive
go,
choices may
whenever
be
they wanted to
regulated
go
for
there.
genetic health and population stability.
With the
Their
Neuralink
careers may be
chips,
shaped by
whatever the hell
survival
else is
needs.
going on with that
Their
shit.
beliefs may be managed to preserve social order. A generation ship
Another
might begin
possibility,
as
we could all just be
exploration and
sleeping
become
on
a
this ship.
hereditary obligation. Some people compare this to
Dreaming
life
the
on Earth.
entire time.
After all, no one chooses to be born into any society. We inherit languages, laws, histories, and problems, but Earth offers vastness. It offers
Optimists will
open
be teaching our
environments,
kids.
ecosystems, migration, cultural diversity, and some possibility of escape.
Kids could
The
obviously
ship
learn
offers
whatever they
rules.
wanted to learn.
Even if the habitat is beautiful, it is bounded.
Like, do you want to learn
Even
about
if there are gardens,
rockets
they are
and shit?
engineered.
Because we're gonna
Even
need
if
that
the
when we get to
sky
that
is
Earth
simulated,
thing,
it is not sky.
whatever it looks like.
Every human inside lives
At that
inside
next
a
solar
dependency
system.
chain. If the ship fails, all die. That reality changes politics, freedom, and psychology. Psychology may be one of the deadliest forces. Humans evolved under open skies, changing landscapes, natural light cycles, complex social networks, and sensory richness. Long-term isolation and confinement can cause stress, depression, conflict, sleep disruption, anxiety, and cognitive strain. Astronauts are carefully selected, trained, supported, and brought home. Submarine crews deploy for limited periods.
Everybody's vitals be
Antarctic
monitored by
researchers endure months, not
the
centuries.
AI.
A generation ship asks
Why aren't you
ordinary people to
sleeping?
form an entire society in permanent confinement with no exit. The first generation might be highly motivated. They chose the mission. They were trained for it. They see themselves as pioneers, but their children may feel differently. A child born into a metal world may ask why the adults call it
Think
destiny.
T-Ray's gonna be
A
like,
teenager may stare at the
hell no,
observation
I ain't
window and
going
see
with you
only
guys.
blackness, then hear stories of oceans and forests and feel not wonder but theft. Another
so
may
we're not
believe
even
the
gonna have
ship is
grandkids. We're
paradise
gonna just
compared
be
with the dangers
holograms or
unknown
whatever at some
outside.
point. Bye.
Another may form a movement to preserve the ship forever and never land. Another may believe the destination planet is a lie created to control labor. These are not absurd possibilities. Human societies generate factions even with abundant space and resources. Inside a sealed ark, factional conflict could become existential. Governance would be brutal. A generation ship needs rules strong enough to protect life support systems and fair enough to avoid rebellion. It needs to regulate resource use, reproduction, work assignments, education, emergency response, and crime. Democracy may struggle if voters choose short-term comfort over long-term survival. Authoritarian systems may maintain order, but risk oppression, corruption, and revolt. Technocracy may keep systems efficient, but create class divisions between experts and non-experts. A religious or mission-based culture may preserve purpose, but risk dogma. No system is clearly safe for centuries. Even a minor conflict can become catastrophic in a closed environment.
It's catastrophic.
On Earth, a riot destroys buildings. On a generation ship, a riot could damage oxygen systems. Sabotage is not just crime, it is mass death. A single person
Will
with
be
access to
monitored
critical
critical
infrastructure
areas
can
all
threaten
the time
everyone.
by AI.
Therefore, security must be intense. But intense security breeds
intense.
resentment. Surveillance may become necessary. Restricted zones may become normal. Emergency
See
authority
something,
may
say
become
something.
permanent.
100%,
The ship
baby.
may slowly transform from a dream of exploration into a controlled survival state, where freedom is treated as a risk factor. This is another twist.
Hey,
The more seriously a generation
you
ship
wanna
protects
scratch it?
life,
You gotta get out
the
of here.
less free it may become. To survive, it may need strict rationing, genetic planning, career assignment, information control, and behavioral monitoring. But to remain human, it needs creativity, love, privacy, disagreement, art, and choice. These goals can collide. A society optimized only for survival may become psychologically unbearable. A society optimized for freedom may make choices that endanger survival. Somewhere between those extremes, the ship must remain stable, not for one election cycle, not for one dynasty, but for centuries. Population size creates another trap. Too few people, and genetic diversity suffers. Inbreeding can increase harmful recessive traits. Random genetic drift can reduce variation. A small population is vulnerable to disease, accidents, infertility, and demographic imbalance. Too many people, and the life support burden grows. More people require more food, water, space, waste processing, medical care, education, and governance. The ideal population must be large enough for genetic health and social complexity, but small enough for ship resources. That balance is hard. Some studies have estimated that a long-term space colony might need hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of people depending on assumptions about genetics, reproduction, fertility, catastrophe risk, and mission duration. But numbers alone do not solve the problem. Genetic diversity can be stored in frozen embryos or gametes, but then you need reliable cryogenic systems, reproductive technology, and social acceptance across generations. You can plan marriages genetically, But that raises ethical issues. You can maintain a larger population, but the ship becomes bigger and more expensive. Every solution adds another system that can fail. Human reproduction in a generation ship is not a private matter in the same way it is on Earth. If population must remain stable, births must be planned. If certain genetic...
One thing that Elon has been repeatedly talking about is the machine that builds the machine. That's what we've been working on, basically, in our spare time. The machine that builds the machine. Now, we're going to need fewer and fewer humans as we go, but we have a lot of work to do until that time comes. So we need ya. Come and help us out, yo. Let's build the coolest shit that there is. It's never been. Let's make this not reality a fucking reality. Yeah.
Genetic pairings are risky, relationships may be restricted. If resources are strained, families may be told to delay children. If population declines, people may be encouraged or pressured to reproduce.
I would say
This
that
means the
AI
ship's survival
should be able to
reaches
take
into
care
the
of
most
that for
intimate
you.
parts of life. Love, family,
Ships
fertility,
entering maximum
and identity
capacity.
become mission variables. That is a heavy burden to place on people who never chose the mission. Medical care becomes another long-term danger. On Earth, hospitals rely on supply chains, specialized equipment, pharmaceuticals, trained professionals, replacement parts, and global research. A generation ship must diagnose and treat injuries, infections, pregnancies, cancers, genetic disorders, mental illness, dental problems, chronic disease, and unknown complications of shipboard life. It must produce or preserve medicines for centuries. Many drugs expire. Manufacturing pharmaceuticals requires chemical feedstocks, sterile processes, quality control, and expertise. If the ship cannot make enough medicine, ordinary illness can become deadly. Microbiology may be a silent villain. Closed environments can favor microbial imbalance. Bacteria and fungi adapt quickly. Pathogens can circulate in a contained population. Biofilms can grow in water systems. Mold can threaten crops and air quality. Beneficial microbiomes in soil, plants, animals, and human bodies must remain healthy. Antibiotic resistance could emerge. A disease that would be manageable on Earth might become severe in a genetically limited, isolated population with
All
finite
handled
medical
with
resources.
data centers in
Even if
space,
no dangerous pathogen is
solving
brought aboard intentionally,
every
life itself evolves.
problem
Microbes do not
health-wise
respect mission plans. Radiation adds
with
another layer.
science.
Earth protects life with its magnetic field and atmosphere. Deep space does not.
So
Galactic
we'll need
cosmic
a
rays
water
are high-energy
jacket
particles
around
that can
our
damage
spaceship.
DNA, increase cancer risk, harm the nervous system, and degrade electronics.
We'll need
Solar
extra
particle
barriers,
events can
extra
deliver dangerous
walls.
radiation bursts.
We'll need
Though
the
beyond the
ability to
sun's
create new
influence, those
walls
specific events are less
while we're
relevant.
traveling.
During departure from the solar system, shielding is crucial. A generation ship traveling for centuries needs heavy shielding. Water, hydrogen-rich materials, regolith, or thick structural mass may help, but shielding adds weight. Weight demands propulsion energy. Again, solving one problem worsens another. Some proposals imagine placing habitats deep inside a rotating asteroid or surrounding them with water tanks and fuel. This could provide radiation shielding and micrometeoroid protection, but then the ship becomes massive. Moving
It's
an
kind of a
asteroid-like
great
structure
idea.
to even a small fraction of light speed.
Like, we get our huge ring of starships in outer space, in orbit around Earth, and then we go and get, like, some huge asteroid or something that would fit nicely in the center of all of our starships. We all anchor into it, and now we are like a spinning, like our own little solar system around this big chunk of asteroid of material, whatever it is, as we also propulse ourselves out into the final frontier.
Requires extreme energy. Rotating habitats can create artificial gravity, but rotation brings engineering challenges. Structural stress, bearings or magnetic systems, vibration, stability, and human adaptation to spin rates. Too small a radius and people may feel Coriolis effects, dizziness or discomfort. Too large a radius and the structure becomes
So dial that
enormous.
shit in. Make it
Artificial
perfect.
gravity itself may be necessary. Long-term weightlessness weakens bones and muscles, affects fluid distribution, and creates health risks. A generation ship cannot keep humans healthy for centuries in microgravity unless biology is modified or countermeasures are extraordinary. Rotation is the most realistic known method, but a rotating world introduces complex mechanics. It must spin reliably for generations. It must handle docking, internal transport, structural fatigue, and emergency repairs. If rotation fails, health declines. If structure cracks, everyone is in danger. Now imagine a child born under artificial gravity produced by spin. To that child, down is not a planet pulling them. It is a mechanical compromise. The horizon may curve upward. The sky may be a ceiling. Weather may be ventilation. Seasons may be programmed. Animals, if present, exist because humans chose to bring them. Wildness becomes design. This child may be healthy, educated, and loved, but their entire reality is mediated by machinery. What does that do to imagination? What does it do to the meaning of home? The food system is equally unforgiving. Crops need light, nutrients, water, temperature control, pest management, genetic diversity, and labor. Hydroponics and aeroponics can be efficient, but they depend on...
I was thinking, are you going to bring bees? Are you going to bring ants? What's the best colonizers, you know? It'd be nice to have honey, you know? Could we have a colony of bees? I have one huge version for a starship just be to having a natural habitat for bees to live and grow crops. Like shitloads of crops. Or
They would definitely be good for an ecosystem and would help with pollination.
Yeah, it's like could a colony of bees handle all the pollination that we'd need for our 10,000 people or whatever, or at least on that huge ship?
Probably need way more than one. But
and how do you manage a colony of bees?
Yeah, I don't know.
Other than that, artificial pollination, how hard is that?
They would probably only grow crops that were like self-pollinating.
Could the Optimus robot have like special pollinating extensions plugged into its fingers or something, and just walk around pollinating all the plants? or do you think it would be good to invent mechanical bees? What is happening down there? Little daughter's going down.
Pumps, sensors, nutrient solutions, and energy. Soil-based agriculture offers ecological complexity but requires mass, space, and biological balance. Crops can fail from disease, nutrient imbalance, equipment failure, or human error. A generation ship cannot simply import grain after a bad season. It must have food reserves and redundant agriculture. But reserves expire, take space, and require preservation. Redundancy adds mass. Diet also affects culture.
You have an
morale.
entire ship just
Food
for first in,
calories.
first out food storage.
It is identity, pleasure, memory, celebration, comfort. A population fed only optimized algae and protein paste may survive physically, but suffer psychologically.
Slaughtered,
a rich diet requires biodiversity. Grains, legumes, vegetables, fruits, maybe fungi, insects, fish.
And all you need really is somebody who's going to be there to fix the robots and make sure they're not messing up. Or just have a robot in charge of fixing the robots in case a robot fucks up.
And genetic management may be needed. The generation
so you wouldn't need to have a
becomes
butcher,
a biological engineering problem and a cultural survival problem at the same time. Energy is the heartbeat of the vessel. Without energy, lights go out, crops die, air stops circulating, water freezes or overheats, computers fail, and civilization ends. Solar power becomes weaker with distance from the sun unless the ship carries huge collection systems, and in interstellar space, sunlight is almost useless. Nuclear fission could provide power for a time, but fuel supply, waste heat, reactor maintenance, and material degradation matter over centuries. Fusion, if mastered, could be better. But practical fusion propulsion and power
For
remain extremely
electricity, having
difficult.
one ship designed for nuclear.
Antimatter has extraordinary energy density, but is difficult
Maybe
to
we
produce,
try to put
store,
that
and handle
nuclear
safely.
option in the
Any
center.
power source must last or be replenished, and failure is existential. Waste heat is another
I
hidden
don't know where you'd
enemy.
want to keep the nuclear
In
to try to
space,
minimize
there is no
the
air or ocean to carry heat away.
if there's an
A
air.
spacecraft must radiate heat into space. Large
Mars.
habitats, power plants, agriculture lights, factories, and computers generate heat. Radiators must be large and reliable. They can be damaged by micrometeoroids. They add mass and surface area. Thermal management becomes a constant challenge. Too much heat and systems cook. Too little heat and habitats
Tesla's been
freeze.
learning a lot and doing amazing
The
things
comfortable
with
room
thermal
where a child
management in
sleeps
outer
depends on the
space.
thermal balance
So,
between machinery and the vacuum. Communication with Earth would fade into something almost spiritual. At interstellar distances, messages take years to travel one way. After a few light years, conversation becomes impossible in any normal human sense. Earth might send updates, but by the time they arrive, the senders may be older, dead, or changed. The ship may receive news of wars, breakthroughs, disasters, or social transformations long after they happened. Eventually, if the journey lasts centuries, Earth itself may become alien to the ship. The homeworld may change languages, governments, technologies, and priorities. It may forget the ship, or the ship may stop listening. This creates a painful possibility. A generation ship launched with great sacrifice might become obsolete before arrival. Suppose Earth later develops faster propulsion.
I've seen that
The
shit
newer
happen
mission
on
could
Wall-E.
overtake the old ship. Imagine being born on a generation ship and learning that people who left
It's like I've
Earth
seen it
centuries
before.
after your ancestors may arrive before you.
this
Your
part right
entire
here,
society's sacrifice becomes technologically outdated.
why
This is
wouldn't you
not
just catch up to
impossible.
them
In
and help them
interstellar
out with the
strategy,
technology?
slow
You know,
missions
like,
risk being passed by future faster
why
missions.
would you just pass those
The first
guys
arc
and be
may
like,
become a relic drifting
bye,
through space,
next
carrying
generation
descendants
ship,
of
see you
pioneers who no longer know
later.
whether their suffering was
Oh
necessary.
man, hook up. Let's see what's
And
up.
what if the destination
See
is
how
wrong?
crazy the difference,
Exoplanet science is
looks
improving.
like from
But
these
knowing
humans
a
to those
planet
humans.
exists is not the same as knowing it can support human life. Proxima Centauri b, for example, is often discussed because it is near and may orbit in the habitable zone. But
I would
habitability
say
is uncertain.
that version
Red dwarf
4,
stars can be active.
version
Planets may be
5,
tidally
maybe
locked. Atmospheres can be stripped. Radiation
should be able to
environments
be
may be
merged
harsh.
with
A
the next
planet that
version.
looks promising from light years away may be barren, toxic, unstable, or impossible to terraform. A generation ship might spend centuries traveling to a world that cannot receive it. The arrival problem is often underestimated. Reaching another star is not enough. The ship must slow down. Deceleration requires energy or clever use of sails, magnetic braking, or other methods. If it cannot slow, it flies past the destination at high speed, turning centuries of travel into a brief glimpse. If it can slow, it must enter the system safely, survey planets,
We'll blow
choose
by
a
your
target,
planet first,
deploy
fast
landers
as
or
hell.
habitats, and establish a settlement. The generation
Being
ship
like,
itself may not be
we're catching a
designed to
ride around your
land.
sun.
It may need
We're gonna
shuttles,
slow down,
factories, mining
and
equipment,
we'll be coming
construction
back.
tools, radiation
Zoom,
shelters,
as they zoom
and
by.
planetary adaptation systems. Arrival is not the end of the mission. It is the beginning of a new survival crisis. A planet around another star may
And
not
like I
have
said, we would
breathable air.
probably just
It may have no
interact
soil
with the
usable for
doctor,
Earth
or
crops.
whoever else
It may have toxic chemistry,
wants to talk.
extreme weather, high radiation, low gravity, high gravity,
If
dangerous
our
dust,
communication
or no
works
magnetic field.
between the
Terraforming
two
would take
different,
enormous time
whatever
and
we
energy,
have,
if possible
whatever
at all.
alien species they
Settlers
have out
might
there.
continue living in enclosed habitats for generations after arrival.
If none of their
So the
planets have
generation ship
anything,
could cross
I mean,
interstellar
they're obviously
space,
going to
only
have
to create another
resources.
closed
We
environment
can at
on a
least
hostile
explore
world.
those.
The dream
grab
of a
those
new Earth
resources.
may become a second machine prison, this time sitting under an alien sky. There is also the problem of planetary protection in reverse.
And then start beaming
If
back
the
saying, hey, there ain't
destination
nothing out
world
here
has
but
its
more
own
planets,
microbial
so
life,
if you guys want to send
human
more
arrival could
people,
contaminate it. If
come
alien
on
microbes
out.
exist, they may not infect humans in the familiar way because biology could be different, but chemical and ecological interactions could still be dangerous or scientifically priceless. The settlers may face ethical choices, preserve native life, exploit the planet, avoid contact, or transform it. A generation ship launched to save humanity could become a threat to another biosphere. But perhaps the darkest truth is that all these problems multiply. Each individual challenge may have a possible answer. Radiation, add shielding, food, build hydroponics, psychology, design spacious habitats, genetics, carry a large population and genome banks, governance, create strong institutions, machines, add redundancy and repair facilities, propulsion, use fusion or sails. But when combined, the solutions interact. Shielding increases mass. Mass increases propulsion needs. Propulsion increases energy systems. Energy systems increase heat. Heat requires radiators. Radiators increase vulnerability. Vulnerability requires repair. Repair requires industry. Industry requires people. People require food. Food requires
Optimist,
ecosystems.
bro.
Ecosystems require stability. Stability requires governance. Governance affects freedom. Freedom affects
Yes,
psychology.
we're gonna need a smelting
Psychology
machine. We're gonna
affects
have a whole
maintenance.
starship
Maintenance affects survival.
developed
The
just
generation
for
ship is not one hard
manufacturing
problem.
things.
It is thousands of hard
literally
problems tied
create
together in a knot. The ship fails
more
if too many
starships.
links weaken at once. And over centuries, coincidences are not rare, they are guaranteed. A crop disease might happen during a political crisis. A reactor fault might occur after a generation of poor training. A medical shortage might coincide with a population imbalance. A micrometeoroid strike might damage a section already weakened by manufacturing defects. A charismatic leader might exploit fear during a life support emergency. Long missions do not need one impossible disaster. They only need enough ordinary disasters at the wrong time. This is why reliability over centuries is so terrifying. Engineers often think in probabilities, mean time between failures, redundancy, risk reduction. But a generation ship must maintain extremely high reliability across an enormous number of components and human behaviors for an enormous duration. Even tiny annual failure probabilities become serious over centuries. If something has a 1 in 1,000 chance per year of causing a severe crisis, over 1,000 years it becomes not a remote possibility, but an expected event. And the ship contains countless such risks. Nature on Earth survives disasters because it is distributed. A forest burns,
So we'd
but
have a
other forests
tremendous list
remain.
of
A species dies,
PMs,
but
preventative
ecosystems
maintenance,
adapt. A city falls,
inspections.
but other
We'd
cities
have
continue.
optimized
Earth
design
has
to do
buffers.
this.
A generation ship has
AI
concentration.
constantly
One vessel, one
checking out
society,
everything.
one life support network, one shared fate. The concentration of risk is extreme. There is no backup planet following behind. Unless multiple
We
ships
literally
travel
have
together, and
10,000
even then each ship adds
backup
cost and
ships.
complexity.
And like I said, we
A
could
fleet
even
may
have
help
the
socially and genetically, but
engineering ship
communication delays between ships,
being
navigation,
created to
resource
replace
sharing, and mutual rescue
starships
become
as
difficult
needed.
over interstellar
Like we
distances.
could make new starships
Some imagine modular ships, where
and
parts
just
can be
totally
isolated if damaged.
disintegrate other
That helps.
starships that were
But
old and
isolation can
failing.
also create social separation. A module with its own farms and systems might develop its own identity. Over generations, modules could become political territories. Resource imbalance between modules could create inequality. A damaged module might demand help that endangers others. A wealthy or powerful section might control critical resources. The ship's architecture becomes its sociology. Corridors become borders, airlocks become checkpoints, engineering design becomes political destiny. Class division is a serious possibility. The people who control life support systems, navigation, data archives, reactors, or medical technology
All
may
AI.
gain power. Maintenance workers may become either honored guardians or
All
exploited
AI.
laborers. Reproductive rights
So
may
it'd all
differ by
just be about
status.
people being
Access
cool
to spacious areas,
on the
real
cool
plants,
ass spaceship,
education, or decision-making could become unequal.
the
On
party
Earth,
ship, yo.
inequality is harmful. On a generation ship, inequality can become explosive because there is nowhere else to go. A society cannot simply let the poor move
We could have
away.
awesome video
Every
game tournaments.
injustice remains sealed inside the same hull. Then there is crime and punishment. What does justice look like in a world where
We could
exile
have
means
epic-
death? What happens to violent criminals when prison space is limited and every person may be needed for labor? What if someone damages critical
Board game
systems?
tournaments.
The ship cannot afford endless conflict, but harsh punishment can brutalize society. Restorative
harsh
justice may be
punishment
ideal,
is
but
how
not
you
always
stop
enough.
people from being
Capital
dumb.
punishment would raise ethical horror in a closed population.
I think
Memory of
putting
injustice can
people
persist across
out in the space
generations.
lock
A single
would definitely
traumatic
be
event can become a founding myth for rebellion.
a good way for
Language
people
will change
to know
too.
not to fuck
Over
around.
centuries, accents, words, meanings, and stories drift. If the
But
ship population is isolated,
that
its
would be
language may
all
become
handled
distinct from
from
Earth languages. Technical
know,
vocabulary
AI,
may be
for the
preserved in
most
formal
part,
education, but
which
everyday speech
does
may
seem even
transform.
more scary now, I guess, to put it like
Ancient
that.
mission documents might become harder to understand.
What do you think, babes? AI has detected that you were stealing, and you have now been charged and found guilty because they saw that you did it, and they know that you did it, and it's just fucking fact. And you're gonna be put out the space lock door because you were caught stealing. Too much of a punishment? What were you stealing? Because, yeah, you didn't need to steal anything because everybody's got everything they need. You were just being, I don't know, dumb.
This is not likely.
Yeah.
This is not likely to happen.
So it's all not likely. So, but
Sorry.
like, in a hypothetical solution,
If I didn't have
AI,
to steal something because I needed it, then I wouldn't be stealing.
So we're trying to figure out how to handle crime here. So what's another crime that we have to worry about? Because no one's really going to be stealing if no one needs. Like everybody who wants anything could just have it.
It's really hard for
be
me
into
to
golf?
even comprehend
You got the
a
best golf clubs?
world that is like that.
You can't even comprehend that world.
No, I cannot comprehend this.
So what other crimes could we have? Sabotage. If you're caught sabotaging and anyone dies for what you did, I think the punishment is you're dead too.
Murder.
Bye. You're gonna go out the space
Rape.
lock door. So any murder or rape, immediately, boom, executed out the door. From AI decision, like saying, "Yep, you've been found guilty." It's all like proven because we got video cameras literally everywhere. Everybody knows what's up.
And translation
Get rid of the
systems
bad
may
people.
help, but they depend on functioning technology.
When there's no
Cultural
doubt,
drift is not a
you.
flaw. It is normal human
space them
life.
out.
But in a generation ship, normal cultural evolution can threaten
Something
mission
tells me that
continuity
this is going to go
if it
terribly
breaks
wrong.
connection with original knowledge.
Since AI has the
Religion or
ability to
spiritual
fucking
systems
blackmail
may emerge
people
around the mission.
and fucking create
Humans
images.
seek meaning, especially
That's
under
why we gotta get the
confinement
data
and
centers in
sacrifice.
space.
Earth may become Eden, or a forbidden past, or a mythic mother, or a cursed place abandoned by the chosen. The destination star may become heaven, destiny, or illusion.
The religious
Engineers may
aspect.
become priest-like figures. Maintenance rituals may acquire sacred language. This could help preserve discipline, or it could distort science. A society that mythologizes its systems may maintain them faithfully without understanding them, until something unexpected happens and ritual is not enough. The archive of Earth would be one of the most precious things aboard. Books, music, films, scientific data, genomes, histories, languages, art, maps, personal
Every
messages,
of
perhaps
information
recordings of oceans and
could be
forests.
constantly being
But
beamed to
archives
us
can
until
become
it takes
overwhelming.
too long to get to us,
What should be preserved? Who decides? How do future generations interpret a planet they have never experienced? A recording of rain may make one child dream and another grieve. A video of birds over mountains may inspire hope or rage. Memory is medicine, but it can also be poison when the remembered world is unreachable. The ship's children would live with inherited nostalgia for a place they never knew. That is psychologically strange.
There
They
could
might
be a whole
mourn
ship
Earth
just designed
without
for the
having
beach.
lost it personally.
People
They
could be
might
going to
feel
visit the
loyalty
beach
to
there.
ancestors they never met, or they might reject Earth entirely, calling it irrelevant. A
Having a
generation
projector on
ship
the
cannot
ceiling,
assume emotional
making it look like the
continuity.
sun.
You know, like
Love
on
of
the
Earth may
fucking
fade.
Fifth
The
Element.
mission's
Yeah.
moral story must survive
Like
not
you're
only
totally
in
at the
facts,
beach, yo,
but
but
in
you're not.
feelings.
The island
And
plan, the
feelings are
Paradise
difficult to
Planet, or
engineer.
what is it?
One
What's the
possible
place
solution
called?
is to make the
Paradise
ship
Planet.
itself a
I
true
don't remember.
home.
No, that's
Not a
what
cramped
it was.
vessel, but a beautiful rotating habitat
I
with
forget what it
rivers,
was called.
forests, parks, open communal spaces, artificial skies, cultural life, and stable communities. If the ship is good enough, perhaps people will not feel imprisoned. But making the ship beautiful increases size and complexity. A sterile ship may be psychologically deadly. A living ship may be mechanically and ecologically fragile. Beauty has mass. Freedom has volume. Mental health has
Lost in
engineering cost.
Paradise.
Even if the interior is
Lost in
magnificent, the
Paradise?
outside remains hostile. Beyond the hull is the
Something like that.
vacuum, radiation, and cold. A single major breach can kill. The ship must constantly maintain pressure. Air is not a background condition. It is stored survival. On Earth, if a window breaks, wind enters. On a ship, if a hull fails, life leaves. This changes the emotional relationship with architecture. Walls are not just walls. They are the boundary between civilization and nothingness. Interstellar dust is another threat that becomes severe at high speed. Space is emptier than any vacuum we can create on Earth, but it is not perfectly empty. Tiny particles exist between stars. At a significant fraction of light speed, even small grains can strike with tremendous energy. Shielding Whipple shields, forward dust clouds, magnetic fields, or sacrificial bumpers may...
So yeah, as we're cruising at a constant velocity of 0.1% or 1%, whatever we're able to achieve in the first generational Starship, spinning like a shuriken with our center mass being a huge ass like asteroid or something for extra material if we need anything, and perhaps the starship next to it, maybe two of them at the center, rotating weirdly or not rotating. It could totally be horizontal, I suppose, and just be super weightless right there in the center of our shuriken. And those center people would be, the center starships would be running the nuclear program. So we'd have maybe one ship with all the nuclear fuel that we'll ever need. The other ship is making the fuel work, making the energy, and trying to figure out what to do with the waste. I don't know. If we'd choose some kind of a nuclear program that had the least amount of waste or the most amount of reproduction that we could use, and then eventually we could even find a way to utilize everything, every part of the nuclear waste. It would be crazy. Where we'd have to have super nuclear engineers or whatever, or the best optimize for handling high nuclear situations. Don't even know what that would be like, but I'm sure we could figure it out with AI.
Do you want to plug in real quick since we're sitting here?
I reckon. How many miles
may reduce risk,
52.
but centuries of exposure add uncertainty. One unlucky object could damage critical systems. Larger debris is rare, but over long distances, rare events matter. Navigation must be extremely precise.
So yeah, as we're spinning through, we could hit one of these pieces of dust, but we're gonna have that strong skeleton on the outside, the steel, to withstand that any kind of impacts like that. And Optimus could go out there and repair it if needed. And Vamos is making a mess for you, Beams.
Yeah, I see that jerk face.
Want to let them know what I'm plugging in?
Okay. Jared's gonna plug in the truck for a bit.
The sun is going down.
Working, it's working.
As a special tip for all the Ford F-150 Lightning users out there, We should try to coordinate it with your loved ones to not turn on the outlet until it's already plugged in.
Sorry.
Life hack. How to not have sparks happening.
Sorry.
It's alright. It took us a long time to figure that out, that these outlets are mainly designed for show. I don't think they were intended for daily use. You know, I think it was like somebody wants to have a pizza one day inside the cab for some stupid reason. You know, it works. Not. We need to run this outlet through the rain, through the snow, through the winter, through the dry, hot heat, through the wind. Gonna put this thing through the ringer, yo. Is that Divers barking?
Oh, he's in the back seat.
Try to play some video games.
Trying to put your video back on for you. The shit just fucking won't stop, man.
I should flip it over. The future is disabled. The feature requires connectivity. Please enable connectivity settings. So you go to
Close.
settings.
No, we have connectivity.
Pro power is electronic power.
Yes,
power
we want
reserve
to power the
setting.
outlets.
Keep
This is
on
fine.
while the vehicle
There's
is
no
off.
issues here at all.
It says right there at 95 miles. So yeah, there you go. That's why it keeps shutting off. So yeah, set it to 40 miles. That sounds good. 40 miles is the reserve when the power will shut off. It was set to 92, which kept shutting the power off, which kept telling us that the future was disabled. Ford always tells us the future is disabled. And now back
Extremely precise.
to the beginning.
Stars move, planets orbit. The ship
the
must account for
hour
stellar
and a half
motion,
video that we were
gravitational influences, propulsion
Sweet.
errors, and long-term course
Oh,
correction.
shut up.
You were scared for a
Navigation must
second.
function for centuries. Sensors must remain calibrated. Star trackers, telescopes,
Like, is this the
gyroscopes,
beginning?
clocks,
So
and
annoying.
computers must be maintained. If the ship drifts off course, correction may require fuel. If fuel is limited, small errors compound. Space does not forgive sloppy navigation. There are no road signs between stars. Software may be one of the strangest vulnerabilities. Modern systems depend on code. Code has bugs, hardware changes, data corrupts, storage media degrade. Cybersecurity inside a generation ship is not about outside hackers. It is about internal misuse, accidents, malicious actors, or forgotten dependencies. A software update gone wrong could affect life support. An old system may become impossible to maintain because no one understands the language it was written in. A decision to simplify software may remove hidden safeguards. Artificial intelligence could help manage complexity, but then dependence on AI becomes another risk. If an advanced AI runs the ship, who controls it? If it is too powerful, humans may become passengers under machine authority. If it is too limited, it may fail to handle crises. If it adapts over centuries, its goals must remain aligned with human flourishing. But human values aboard may change. Should the AI obey the original mission, the current population, safety protocols, or some deeper ethical framework? A
What do you think?
generation ship with AI may avoid some human errors while creating new philosophical and political dangers. Cryogenic sleep is often proposed as a better alternative. Freeze the crew, wake them at arrival, avoid generations of social drift.
Sounds like a sci-fi
But reliable
movie.
human cryopreservation and
not
revival
really
after
in
centuries
on
is
that one.
not currently available. Freezing damages cells unless handled with extreme techniques. Whole body revival remains beyond present medicine. Even if possible someday, the ship still needs machines that work for centuries while humans sleep. Who repairs them? Robots? Then the mission depends on robotic maintenance over centuries.
Who repairs them? Yes, the robots. Or who repairs the robots? The people who fix the robots. Or the robots who fix the robots. I mean, we got lots of different options out here. But I would say the structure of the ship would be highly social. Like, if nobody wanted for anything, if everything was literally able to be made, that you needed. Every major chore was already done. You could just do whatever was interesting to you. And going and checking out the center asteroid thing would be quite a fun thing to check out. And knowing how to work the nuclear program there in the center to keep the lights on while we're sharuking it down, trying to save gas or whatever we're doing with that. Once we reach our 0.1% or whatever speed we're trying to do at the percent of speed of light, it would all be about the social factor and the trust factor. So there would have to be like some hierarchy of, I don't know, fun people you want to hang out with. You want to play play Monopoly, or you want to play chess or checkers, or you want to play VR headset games. I don't know. What do you envision people be doing with unlimited free time?
I don't.
Nobody really be social at all.
I don't envision people having unlimited free time.
Nobody would be checking out the bee sanctuary, running through the forest or whatever, or making balsa wood.
What are you doing back there, chicken face?
I think you don't want to know.
He's chewing on something.
Mm-hmm. What do you think he's chewing at?
Something of mine, probably.
Yes.
Is it clothing?
Mm-hmm. That you may never, ever wear again.
That may be easier than maintaining a human civilization, but still difficult. Embryo ships are another idea. Send frozen embryos with machines that grow and raise humans at the destination. This avoids sustaining adults for centuries, but it creates enormous ethical and practical problems. Artificial wombs would be needed. Robots or AI would raise children without human parents. The first generation at the destination
I don't think we need to go that far.
Extreme isolation, dependent on machines, without living cultural continuity.
But it sure seems like more and more Democrat liberal women out here don't want to have kids and they want to kill their babies. It might be the only way that sensible guys still want to have children, could have a kid, is to have the artificial womb. And then, all these kids being scared of having pregnancies. Well, it definitely worked, you guys. We're not having kids anymore. Society is collapsing. Yeah, we don't want to have that problem on the spaceship. So
they won't.
Because
they'll be killing people before they overcrowd a spaceship.
Who are they?
The government. The leaders.
Don't you
the
understand
owner
that,
of the ship.
Like we would all be the leaders?
No, we wouldn't.
What kind of leadership do you think?
We cannot exist in society like that. It's not gonna happen, babe.
Things are gonna change.
There's always gotta be somebody in control of everything.
Well, like I said, it would be, the voted person who's in charge. Like, yes, where are we going? Are we gonna go check out Jupiter this week? Are we gonna go try to hit that star up that's closest to us? Different solar system. It's gonna take so many years. We're gonna need a leader. I mean, we're gonna want to have a good leader. So you're gonna want to make sure you choose the right leadership.
That's the problem.
So how do you figure that out?
This fucking nation can't figure it out.
What you want to do primarily
it's not gonna happen.
Is look at the results.
It's gonna be the richest person just ruling everybody.
Like I said, all of Elon's trillions of dollars worth of wealth are gonna be worth nothing soon.
Continuity. It might be technically lighter than a generation ship, but morally and psychologically haunting. Robotic probes are far more practical. Machines do not need air, food, social harmony, or consent. A robotic interstellar probe can be small, durable, and patient. It can send data back across light years. it can explore without risking trapped generations. This is why many scientists see robotic exploration as the logical first step. Human interstellar colonization is not just exploration, it is transplantation of civilization. That is vastly harder. Some may argue that humanity has always crossed dangerous frontiers. Ancient sailors crossed oceans without knowing what waited beyond. Migrants crossed deserts. Polar explorers endured isolation. Space settlement may simply be the next chapter. But interstellar travel differs in scale and reversibility. Ocean voyages lasted weeks or months, sometimes years. They still occurred on Earth, within a biosphere, with wind, water, fish, land somewhere, and a planet beneath them. A generation ship leaves the biosphere entirely. It is not crossing an ocean. It is carrying a tiny artificial ocean through a desert wider than history. Another argument says humans adapt. People can make homes anywhere. A generation ship society might not feel deprived if it knows nothing else. Children born there may love the ship. They may not miss forests if they have never walked through them. That may be partly true. Humans are adaptable, but adaptation is not the same as safety. A society can emotionally adapt to a fragile environment while still being one engineering cascade away from extinction. Comfort does not eliminate systemic risk. There is also a hidden assumption that humans remain biologically unchanged. Over centuries, medicine, genetic engineering, cybernetics, or artificial biology could alter the equation. Future humans might be more radiation resistant, psychologically adapted to confinement, longer lived, or partially digital. They might not need Earth-like environments. If humanity changes enough...
Partially digital. All right. Neuralink. Merging our consciousness with the computer. Advancements in AI and robotics, with genetics and everything, biology. Perhaps maybe the easiest way AI is just to keep constantly giving you new medicine, whatever, that's combating your aging process to help us to live forever on this generational starship. Or there's a way that it can download your consciousness so you can still carry on like as another AI in the computer system. So like you could still exist when you got there. You could still download your consciousness into your own Optimi robot when you got there. You know, like that's what I'm thinking, yo.
Generation ships may become less impossible, but then we are no longer talking about ordinary humans in a giant ark. We are talking about transformed beings. The classic generation ship fails because it tries to move Earth human life across star distances without Earth. The phrase "would never work" must be handled carefully. Science should avoid absolute claims when physics does not forbid something. In principle, with enough technology, enough energy, enough social design, enough biological control, and enough redundancy.
Remember that.
What? Sorry.
Well, let's hear it. Remember! Put it on camera so we can remember it.
Oh my God.
Share it for the class.
Remember, the Netherlands, the Netherworld, and the Nether regions have nothing to do with each other. Until we meet again.
They all start with the letter N, though.
I realized my phone was gonna hijack the system. Oh my God. Close. No.
A generation ship might function, but the harsh reality is that with known human psychology, known engineering limits, known ecological fragility, and known resource constraints, a truly reliable generation ship is far beyond us. It is not impossible like faster-than-light travel appears to be under current physics. It is impossible in the more painful sense. Every part of it demands perfection from creatures and systems that are not perfect. Perfection is the enemy here. A Mars mission can tolerate some risk because it is short compared with a generation ship, and Earth remains relatively near. A lunar base can receive supplies. A space station can evacuate.
I figure you would naturally have people that are great at botany or that are fascinated with plants and would love to be, working in the garden, helping out the robots in the garden, making sure everything is tasting great and looking great and growing great. But if like as people were growing up and going through the AI school system, whatever that's going to be like on the Generational Starship, they could just immediately know that we have 10 future botanists coming up. We need at least 50 or 100 to make sure we're going to get some good ones, or the best of the best. So we need to encourage more botanists somehow. So maybe campaigns of advertisements in your daily AI videos. Like, would people just be watching AI videos constantly?
Wait, a generation ship cannot rely on rescue. Its failure tolerance must be extraordinarily
If we die,
low.
we die. That's like
Yet human systems
model
are
number
messy.
one. Hopefully
we
we
make
don't die.
mistakes. We disagree.
What do
we
we say to
forget.
death?
We cut
Not
corners.
today.
We reinterpret rules. We suffer. We love irrationally. We panic. We become bored. We become inspired. We change. That change is beautiful on Earth. In an interstellar arc, it can be dangerous. The deeper twist is that a generation ship must be both alive and unchanging. It must have living culture, but preserve mission continuity. It must allow children to become themselves, but keep them aligned with ancestral goals. It must support innovation, but avoid risky experiments. It must adapt to crises, but not mutate into something incompatible with survival. It must remember Earth, but not be destroyed by longing. It must travel toward a future, while preventing the future from rejecting the journey. The timescale is almost impossible for human institutions. Consider how much Earth changes in 500 years. Languages shift. Empires rise and fall. Religions reform. Technologies transform. Scientific worldviews change. Borders vanish. Economies collapse and rebuild. Now imagine expecting one mission plan, one vessel, one society, and one survival culture to remain coherent across that same span. A generation ship traveling at 1% light speed to the nearest star might require more than 400 years. To more distant targets, thousands. Even if the ship survives mechanically, its civilization may become unrecognizable. Suppose after 300 years, the population decides that landing on a planet is too dangerous. They may prefer to remain aboard and turn the ship into a permanent space habitat. Is that failure? From the original mission's view, yes. From the living population's view, maybe not. They might ask why they should risk descent into an alien gravity well when the ship is the only home they know. The goal of reaching another star could be replaced by the goal of preserving the ship. The generation ship becomes not a vehicle, but a world wandering forever. Or suppose the opposite. A faction wants to accelerate, take risks, reduce safety margins, and reach the destination sooner. Another faction wants caution. Another wants to conserve fuel. Another wants to change destination based on new telescope data. These are rational disagreements, but on a ship, rational disagreements can become existential. There may be no neutral ground, no separate nation to move to, no independent economy. Politics becomes life support by other means.
As we get closer, we should start figuring out with our satellites and
the first
other
generation might sign contracts, take vows,
devices.
accept risks. But their descendants are born into the contract.
Optics.
Can a society ethically create children whose environment is permanently restricted for the sake of a mission?
Monitoring the system that we're coming into to be like, yeah, we should definitely hit the star for slowing down. And then we're going to want to shoot immediately to this planet right here because that's the highest likely
It is one thing to bring children into a world with problems.
Earth-like planet.
It is another to bring them into a sealed machine because a previous generation wanted to reach a star.
Some resources
Some
so we
might
can
say
build
the
like 10 new
descendants will be
ships.
alive because of the mission, so they cannot complain.
We're going to
Without
save
the
some
ship,
people here.
They would not exist. But
Whoever
that
wants to
argument
stay
is
in this solar
dangerous.
system can.
Existence does not automatically justify conditions.
We're going to build another whole
A child born into a
colonization and
harmful
go to the
system
next
can
nearest
still be
one.
wronged, even if they would not
That would
exist
be the goal.
otherwise. A generation ship must answer not only can we keep them alive, but what kind of life are we giving them?
So we're going to need
The ship's
multiple
designers would likely try
generational
to create
ships.
dignity, beauty, education, autonomy, and meaning. But the constraints remain. There are walls, there are quotas, there are emergency protocols, there are finite resources. There is no wilderness beyond the boundary. There is no true weather, no independent nature, no outside economy, no rescue. The descendants may have festivals, music, love, science, and joy, but all of it floats inside dependency. That does not make life meaningless. It makes the ethical calculation severe. The environmental lesson is ironic. A generation ship forces humans to understand what Earth already is, a closed life support system, just much larger and more forgiving. Earth recycles water, air, nutrients, and life through planetary processes. It gives us radiation shielding, gravity, climate, soil, biodiversity, and psychological richness for free. A generation ship would spend unimaginable effort trying to recreate a poor copy of what we already have. The more one studies generation ships, the more Earth appears miraculous. This does not mean humans should never explore space. It means we should understand the difference between visiting, studying, settling nearby worlds, and launching self-contained civilizations into interstellar darkness.
And
The
answered
moon is difficult.
who's going to be on
Mars
the
is
ship.
much harder.
Probably
The
the
outer solar
smartest of the
system is
smartest.
harder still.
And
But interstellar generation
majority
ships are a different category.
the people who are
They are not
willing to
merely
go.
bigger spacecraft.
Because
They are
there's not going
attempts
to
to
be a lot of
miniaturize
people
a
willing
planet and stretch a civilization across deep time.
to go on
Let
the
us
first
think
one.
about the ship's launch. Building it would require enormous resources. Perhaps it would be assembled in orbit or near the moon. Materials might come from asteroids. Factories would construct rotating habitats, tanks, shields, engines, farms, reactors, and living areas. The project could take decades or centuries before departure. Political will must survive long before the mission even begins. Funding must continue. International cooperation must hold. Technologies must mature. Accidents must be endured. Public support must not collapse. A generation ship requires a civilization stable enough to build it, yet the usual argument for generation ships is often that civilization may not remain stable on Earth. If Earth faces existential threats, some propose generation ships as insurance. But if Earth is unstable enough to require escape, is it stable enough to build a flawless interstellar arc? If
Let's find
humanity
out.
cannot manage climate, war, inequality, and biosphere protection on its home planet, can it manage a closed artificial world where mistakes are even less forgiving? The generation ship becomes a mirror. It asks whether we are trying to solve survival by leaving, when the deeper problem is learning how to sustain life responsibly. There is a paradox here. The skills needed to build a generation ship are the same skills needed to preserve Earth: closed-loop resource use, ecological balance, long-term governance,
So we can do
conflict
both.
management,
Duh.
sustainable energy, respect for future generations. If we master those, Earth becomes safer. If we fail at those, a generation ship becomes impossible. The Ark is not an escape from responsibility. It is responsibility compressed into metal.
She's like
Another
that,
overlooked issue is evolution.
Hmm.
Over centuries, humans aboard may
Good thing I
experience
didn't cut my
selection pressures.
fingernails.
If radiation, disease, diet, artificial gravity, social policies, or reproductive controls affect survival and reproduction, the population may slowly change biologically. Genetic drift in a small population can produce unexpected outcomes. Cultural selection may be even stronger. Traits valued by ship society may differ from those valued on Earth. Obedience, technical skill, low aggression, or psychological tolerance of confinement might be encouraged. Over time, the ship may shape its people.
I could
The
see
descendants who
religion being
arrive may
a
not be socially or
hard.
biologically identical to those who left. This could be acceptable, perhaps even necessary,
hard issue.
but it complicates the dream. We imagine humans from Earth arriving at another star. Instead, after many generations, the arrivals may be a new branch of humanity adapted to artificial habitats. They may not even want a planet. They may prefer controlled environments. The generation ship may not deliver Earth culture to the stars. It may create ship culture, something born between worlds. And if the ship
I
society
would
changes
vote
enough,
for some form of
conflict with any
Christianity.
later Earth origin settlers could arise.
What would you vote for?
Suppose
Me?
a faster ship from Earth arrives at the same destination.
What
The
type of religion
generation
should
ship
the ship have?
descendants may claim moral ownership because their ancestors
All of
sacrificed
them?
centuries.
I don't think it should.
The newer
No, no.
arrivals may have advanced technology and different values. The destination system could become a site of tension. Interstellar colonization is not just engineering, it is future politics across time. The more we explore these possibilities, the more the word ship seems misleading. A ship is something that goes from one place to another. A generation ship is an artificial lineage. It is a womb for history.
Is it a scratch?
It carries not just passengers, but centuries of births, deaths, arguments, memories, repairs, mutations, and myths. By the time it arrives, the original mission is archaeology. The vessel is not a bridge between Earth and a planet. It is an entire civilization whose travel is its existence. This makes failure difficult to define. If the ship never arrives, but its people live meaningful lives for centuries, did it fail? If it arrives, but the society inside is oppressive, did it succeed? If it preserves human genes, but destroys human freedom,
If it
is that
arrives
victory?
with just the
If it
AI
reaches a
alive
planet
and
but
everybody
cannot
dead,
settle, was the journey wasted? If it becomes a stable, wandering habitat,
hopefully
perhaps the failure of the mission
anybody can
becomes the birth of a new
log in
civilization.
and learn about it.
But that is not the classic promise. The classic promise is colonization of another star. That promise is where reality becomes harsh. You should also consider the cosmic timescale. Stars live for billions of years. The galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars. From that view, a 1,000-year journey seems small, but for humans, 1,000 years is enormous. Our bodies, minds, and institutions are not naturally designed for millennium-scale projects. We can build cathedrals over generations, preserve texts for millennia, maintain cultures through deep time, but those efforts happen on a planet with resources and redundancy. A generation ship demands cathedral-level continuity inside a submarine that cannot surface. Could advanced automation solve most problems? Robots could farm, repair, manufacture, teach, monitor health, and maintain systems. This reduces labor burdens and perhaps social conflict over work. But automation requires maintenance too. Robots need parts,
So we're still
power,
gonna have some
software,
people that need to
sensors,
learn.
actuators, and materials. If humans lose the ability to understand the automated systems, they become dependent on a technological priesthood or on machines they cannot repair. Automation can preserve civilization, or it can make civilization helpless. Could nanotechnology solve material recycling and repair? Perhaps future molecular manufacturing could create parts from basic
robots.
feedstock with high efficiency. That would help enormously, but it remains speculative at the level needed for centuries of autonomous industrial support. Could genetic engineering create compact ecosystems and resilient humans? Perhaps. Could fusion power become abundant and reliable? Perhaps. The word perhaps appears again and
Are you
again.
having a good
A
time over
generation
there?
ship needs not one perhaps to become real, but dozens of perhapses to become dependable. This is why serious thinking must distinguish imagination from mission planning. It is fine to imagine generation ships. They help us explore deep questions, but to actually launch one, optimism is not enough. You need proof. You need closed ecosystems operating for decades, then centuries. You need autonomous manufacturing that can reproduce critical supply chains. You need long-term radiation solutions. You need stable artificial gravity habitats. You need governance models tested in isolated environments without abuse.
Check,
You
check,
need
check,
medical
check, check.
self-sufficiency.
No problem.
You need propulsion and deceleration.
We got it all
You need
figured out.
ethical legitimacy. We have fragments, not
All
the
we got to
whole.
do is build more
A
robots.
true precursor might be large
The machine
rotating
that builds
habitats
the
in the solar
machine.
system. Before sending people to another star, humanity would need to live for generations in space near home. O'Neill cylinders, asteroid habitats, lunar or Martian settlements, and deep space stations could teach lessons. If a rotating habitat near Earth cannot maintain a healthy society and ecosystem for 200 years, while resupply is possible, then an interstellar generation ship is fantasy. If it can, the dream becomes less impossible, but even then, interstellar isolation adds distance, propulsion, and no rescue. This suggests a realistic path. First, master Earth
Daddy giving you a good
sustainability,
scratch.
then master closed habitats near Earth, then master asteroid industry, then master long-duration space medicine and artificial gravity, then send robotic probes to nearby stars, then perhaps send automated seed factories or AI explorers. Only after all that would a generation ship become a serious candidate. And by then, technology
couple
may
more
make
years.
generation ships unnecessary. Faster propulsion, suspended animation, digital
Like I said,
minds,
next
or
version of
biological
Generation
adaptation
Starship
may
could just
replace
catch
them.
up and
The classic generation
them
ship
print
may
out
be
the
a
new
bridge
shit.
concept that humanity dreams about before finding a better way. The tragedy is that generation ships are most appealing when we feel trapped by light speed, but they may be least attractive once we are advanced enough to build them. If we cannot build advanced propulsion, generation ships take too long. If we can build the systems needed for generation ships, we may also be close to better alternatives. This is another reason they may never work in practice. They occupy an awkward technological gap, too advanced for us now, possibly obsolete for our descendants. Still, the image remains powerful. A city among stars, children learning constellations that slowly shift, old people telling stories of a planet no one alive remembers, engineers listening to the heartbeat of reactors, gardeners tending crops under artificial sunlight, teachers explaining that beyond the hull lies a darkness wider than empires, lovers meeting beneath a simulated sky, funerals where ashes are recycled into soil because nothing can be wasted. It is beautiful and terrible at once. That beauty can distract us from the central cruelty. The generation ship asks life to become a supply chain. Every breath is budgeted, every birth is strategic, every machine is sacred, every mistake is inherited. On Earth, a person can waste an afternoon, walk aimlessly, get lost, change careers, move cities, reject family expectations, live imperfectly. On a generation ship, imperfection still exists, but its consequences are magnified. A society under permanent existential pressure may struggle to allow ordinary human messiness. Yet without that messiness, humanity becomes something colder. There is a reason many generation ship stories become stories of breakdown. The ship forgets its mission. The crew divides into castes. The ecosystem fails. A hidden truth emerges. The destination is not what they believed. These stories feel natural because the concept contains instability. A generation ship is a pressure cooker for narrative because it is a pressure cooker for civilization. The drama is not added from outside. It is built into the design. The harshest scientific conclusion is not that one specific obstacle kills the idea. It is that no obstacle stays isolated. Closed ecology affects psychology. Psychology affects governance. Governance affects maintenance. Maintenance affects engineering reliability. Reliability affects ethics. Ethics affects social legitimacy. Social legitimacy affects compliance. Compliance affects survival. The ship is a web, and every strand pulls on every other strand. On Earth, we often separate disciplines. Engineers build machines, biologists study life, psychologists study minds, political scientists study societies, ethicists study values. But a generation ship punishes separation. It requires total systems thinking. A pump failure is not just engineering. It can become a food shortage, then social unrest, then political crisis, then mission failure. A bad law is not just politics. It can shape reproduction, education, mental health, and technical competence. A fungal outbreak is not just biology. It can become rationing, distrust, and violence. Everything touches everything. This is why the dream is so hard to scale down. You cannot simply send 50 people and hope. A small crew lacks genetic diversity, labor specialization, cultural richness, and resilience. You cannot simply send 1 million people either, because the ship becomes absurdly massive. The middle ground is uncomfortable. Enough people to be a society, not so many that the ship becomes a planet. Enough ecosystem to be resilient, not so much that it cannot be launched. Enough technology to be autonomous, not so complex that no one can maintain it. Every design point is a compromise with danger. Let us imagine a realistic failure cascade. The ship is 180 years into a 500-year journey. Most systems function. The population is stable. But a crop pathogen spreads in one agricultural ring. Food reserves cover the immediate shortage, but nutrient recycling becomes strained. Engineers increase lighting and adjust humidity to save remaining crops, raising energy demand and heat output.
Everybody died.
Radiator panels already degraded by micrometeoroid impacts struggle to dump the excess heat.
Saying what went
The
wrong.
reactor subsystem needs maintenance.
People behind us
But the best technician
catch our
died in
signal
an
and be
accident
like,
2
hey,
years
watch out
earlier,
for
and
this.
training replacements takes time. Rations begin. A political faction accuses the Agricultural Council of incompetence. Another faction demands access to restricted seed banks. A small act of sabotage occurs. Security tightens, trust declines, birth permits are reduced,
Saboteurs.
families protest. What
Hey,
began as a
Jerkface,
plant
you're on
disease
the wrong
becomes a
side of the fence,
constitutional
bozo.
crisis.
handled
This
with
kind
the
of
utmost
cascade is
Get
not
over
poetic
here.
exaggeration. Complex systems fail through interaction. Airplane accidents often result from chains of small errors, not one giant cause.
Babe, it's like
Ecological
he gets
collapses
over
involve
there and then
feedback
he can't
loops.
figure out how to get back.
Societies destabilize when
Oh, I
resource
think I
stress
can
meets
see it
political
from here.
distrust.
It looks
A
like he moved
generation
the
ship
fence
is
up.
the ultimate complex system. Its greatest
Past the
enemy may
bushes
not be
there.
catastrophe,
You
but
should go
coupling.
take a look real
The
quick.
way every problem.
Go take a look, man.
Run the dog out. You dabbers?
You see it? I think it's real close to where he's at right now, just a little bit further. It almost looks like the fence has been moved up from the ground. What's going on? He did not go all the way down there and back. it go.
Like I said, hole in the flag sign. He went all the way to the other side of the property. He's figured it out. But there's one last spot where I can get through now.
Amplifies every other problem. Even the ship's success creates risks. If life aboard becomes stable and comfortable, people may lose urgency about arrival. If life aboard is harsh, people may rebel against the mission.
Like I said, everybody just be doing whatever the hell they wanted to do.
Suffer. If education
You wanted
is
to learn
open,
about botany?
mission ideology may be challenged.
Just wanted to go watch every
If
single
governance is
YouTube video there's ever
centralized,
been?
tyranny threatens.
Look what's outside.
If governance is decentralized, coordination may fail. If population is tightly controlled,
You made it all the way around.
If population is loosely controlled, resources may strain. There is no perfect setting. Every dial has a danger zone on both sides. In a sense, generation ships are asking for a society that has solved all the problems Earth societies have not solved, but with fewer resources and no escape. Long-term planning, intergenerational justice, ecological sustainability, peaceful governance, scientific literacy, ethical reproduction policy, mental health, inequality control, infrastructure maintenance,
I can hear him
crisis
rumbling
response.
now.
If humanity cannot do these on a planet, why expect success inside a hull? Yet this should not make us cynical. It should make us humble.
This is about the
The
water,
generation
isn't
ship
it?
idea is valuable because it reveals the depth of what life requires. It teaches that survival is not only oxygen and calories, it is meaning, trust, knowledge, fairness, repair, memory, and adaptation. A civilization is not a passenger list, it is a living pattern. You cannot pack it into a spacecraft the way you pack tools into a box. You must cultivate it continuously. The question becomes, what would have to be true for a generation ship to work? First, the ecosystem must be stable or controllable for centuries. Second, the ship must manufacture and repair almost everything essential. Third, the population must remain genetically and socially healthy. Fourth, governance must remain legitimate over deep time. Fifth, education must preserve complex knowledge. Sixth, propulsion and shielding must be adequate. Seventh, the destination must be worth reaching. Eighth, the ethical problem of unborn generations must be addressed honestly.
Little doggos in space.
Missing any one of these is
Definitely
dangerous.
a must.
Missing several is fatal. How could consent be addressed? Perhaps only adults choose to board, and reproduction is delayed until arrival. But then it is not a generation ship unless travel time is within adult lifespan. Perhaps embryos are carried and raised only after arrival, but that becomes an embryo ship. Perhaps future children are given the best life possible aboard, but they still did not choose confinement. Perhaps society accepts this as comparable to any inherited condition. There is no easy answer. The ethical wound remains. Some defenders might say future generations on the ship will have their own agency. They can choose to continue, alter, or abandon the mission. That helps morally, but weakens mission reliability. If descendants are free, the original mission may fail. If descendants are not free, ethics fails. This is one of the deepest contradictions.
For people to
The
be in
generation
governance.
ship can protect its destination goal by limiting future freedom, or protect future freedom by risking the destination goal. It cannot fully maximize both. Another contradiction lies in truth. Should the ship teach children the full reality, that they are confined because ancestors chose an uncertain mission, that systems could fail, that arrival may be impossible, truth supports maturity and trust. But too much existential awareness may produce despair. Should the culture emphasize destiny, honor, and purpose? That supports cohesion, but risks propaganda. A healthy society needs truth and meaning together. Maintaining that balance for centuries is profoundly difficult. And then there is boredom, an underrated cosmic force. Not momentary boredom, but civilizational repetition. The same corridors, the same routines, the same mission story, the same stars changing slowly, the same constraints. Humans need novelty. A ship can create art, games, education, virtual realities, festivals, research, and social life. But artificial novelty may not fully replace the open-ended richness of a planet. Boredom can become apathy. Apathy can weaken maintenance. Maintenance failure can kill. Even boredom becomes technical. Virtual reality might help. People could experience simulated forests, oceans, cities, histories, even imagined worlds. But VR depends on power, hardware, software, psychological boundaries, and cultural effects. If simulated Earth becomes more desirable than ship reality, people may withdraw. If VR is controlled by authorities, it becomes a tool of pacification. If it is unrestricted, it may disrupt product.
So VR by this time, hopefully, like version 4 Starship, first generational Starship launch, AI should be at the point where the Neuralink chip is all you really need, and maybe even less invasive than that. I don't know if they're going to even need to put a chip underneath your skin in your head or not. Advancements could be well beyond that. So like you just gotta close your eyes, and now you're just wherever you want to be in your head.
Productivity. Again, every solution carries a shadow. The dead must also be considered. In a closed system, bodies cannot simply be buried in endless land. Matter must be recycled. Human remains may become nutrients for crops. Many cultures would find this sacred. Others might find it horrifying. Over generations, funeral practices must adapt to ecological necessity. Death becomes part of a life support. This is scientifically sensible and emotionally heavy. On a generation ship, even grief must obey recycling. The ship's relationship with time would be unlike ours. People on Earth live with horizons: school, career, family, retirement, national events, generational change. Ship people live inside a mission longer than individual life. Their personal stories are small chapters in an engineered epic. That can create meaning, like building a cathedral one will never see completed. But cathedral builders could walk outside. Ship builders cannot. The mission is not part of life. It surrounds life. A person might ask, why not make the journey shorter by going faster? That returns us to propulsion. To push a massive habitat to even 1% of light speed requires vast energy. Kinetic energy increases with the square of velocity at non-relativistic speeds, so doubling speed requires 4 times the energy. At relativistic speeds, the situation becomes even more demanding. Then deceleration requires additional energy or clever external methods. Carrying fuel to accelerate and decelerate increases mass, which requires more fuel, the classic rocket equation problem. Beamed propulsion, such as lasers pushing sails, avoids carrying some fuel, but building enormous laser arrays and decelerating at the destination remain major challenges. Nuclear pulse propulsion, like old Project Orion concepts, imagined using nuclear explosions behind a pusher plate. It could, in theory, move huge masses better than chemical rockets, but it raises engineering, political, radioactive, and treaty issues. Fusion rockets are elegant in concept, but not yet practical at interstellar scale. Antimatter rockets are energy dense, but antimatter production is currently tiny, and storage is difficult. Laser sails may work better for small probes than massive cities. The propulsion problem alone is civilization scale, and if we somehow build the engine, launching from near Earth may be unsafe. A massive nuclear or antimatter-powered arc accelerating near the home planet is not a casual event. Construction and departure would likely occur far from Earth,
Don't floor it when you're right outside of Earth.
That requires an existing space industry. So generation ships are not a first step into space. They are a late-stage achievement of a civilization already comfortable building megastructures. The economics are staggering. What society funds a mission whose success no living sponsor will see? Humans can invest in future generations, but political systems often struggle beyond decades. A generation ship might require religious-level commitment, existential fear, or a unified planetary culture. It could also become a prestige project for the powerful. If built under inequality, who gets to go? The wealthy, the genetically selected, the politically loyal, the skilled.
We already covered this. The first people are going to be whoever wants to go and whoever the best people of those people are.
Crew selection may create trauma before launch. Families divided, people rejected, genetic screening, psychological testing, cultural quotas, skill requirements. The ship must begin with a population optimized for survival, but humans are not livestock. Selecting founders for a closed future society risks eugenics, discrimination, and political manipulation. The moral danger begins before the engines fire. If the ship is launched as an escape from disaster, Desperation may worsen selection.
See, even this guy can't fathom that concept of the sustainable abundance. Building the machine that builds the machine. Once you got one robot making 2 robots, now you got 2 bots making 2 robots, now you got 4 robots making 4 robots. And they tell 2 people, and they tell 2 people, get him, doggo.
Selection.
No.
In a dying Earth scenario, boarding becomes salvation. Those left behind may resent or attack the project. Those aboard may carry guilt. A mission born from catastrophe may begin psychologically wounded. If launched during peace and abundance, motivation may be weaker. The ideal conditions are paradoxical. Enough stability to build, enough urgency to justify, enough ethics to choose fairly, enough technology to survive. Such conditions may be rare. Now consider communication delay during construction and after launch with mission control. In early phases, Earth can advise, but as distance grows, autonomy becomes mandatory. The ship society cannot depend on Earth for decisions. Over time, Earth becomes less a controller and more a memory. This autonomy is necessary, but it means Earth cannot guarantee mission values. The ship must become sovereign. A sovereign society may choose differently from its founders. Again, freedom and mission certainty diverge. The destination star system might change in known status during the journey. Long-range observations from Earth or the ship may reveal new data. The target planet is uninhabitable,
New data,
another planet
changes
is
the
better,
plan.
a nearby star has
Let's
a
take it in
superior
and make
world,
decisions,
or
people.
dangerous stellar
Not a
activity
problem.
threatens arrival. Changing course may be
No.
possible only within limits. A generation ship
going
is not
anywhere.
agile. It is massive,
going
slow
potty
to
over there.
redirect, constrained by
In
fuel.
the neighbor's
A
freaking
better
yard. Just let
destination
him be.
discovered too late may be unreachable. The ship may be
Okay.
trapped by decisions made
all he's
centuries
doing is
earlier with
going potty.
incomplete data. This is deeply different from
For some
exploration
reason,
on
he
Earth,
came
where
potty all
travelers
the way
can
over
adjust
here.
routes,
Well, he likes to
resupply,
potty.
turn back, or settle elsewhere. Interstellar space offers few alternatives.
Now you can't hear
Stars
it
are
or see him.
separated by huge
What do
distances.
you think about that, potty
A ship
animal?
aimed at one system cannot casually visit another. The map may
No.
improve,
You
but the
said.
path remains costly. The first decision may bind generations. The ship must also protect against internal knowledge loss caused by catastrophe.
No. You
Suppose
stay.
a fire destroys a data center.
Good
There will
boy.
be
Stay.
backups. Suppose
Stay.
radiation damages storage. There will be error correction. Suppose political conflict destroys archives intentionally. There must be distributed copies, but copies require maintenance too. Digital preservation over centuries is harder than it sounds. File formats change. Storage media fail. Data can be corrupted silently. Future people may preserve
We'll
data
make sure
without
the
context.
AI is
A library
safe.
is not only information, it is interpretation.
All right, babes. Final thoughts. Thanks for watching, you guys. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Doggos.
Don't barf on me.
Gotta shut it down, babes.
You shut it down, chicken face.
All right, it was nice seeing you guys again. No final thoughts. Generational Starship. Let's go.
No.
Never
I think
gonna
you've
happen.
been watching too much freaking Star Trek.
See, let's go. Let's make Star Trek real again.